to Algebra 2, Test 15, study guide, picking up on Part 2, number 19. We are graphing the inequality y is less than x squared plus 2x plus 1. The first thing we need to find on this, we need to find what x's value is. Remember, you can look at this picture and determine ax squared plus bx plus c. You can determine that it opens going up since it's positive a, and that it's going to be a dashed line since it doesn't say or equal to, along with less than. X is equal to negative b over 2 times a. So b's value is 2, so negative 2 over 2 times a's value is 1. So we simplify that, we get x's value is negative 1. So our axis of symmetry is going to be at negative 1. So on our graph, not that one, but on our graph, our axis of symmetry, our x value will be at negative 1. So that's the first thing we find after we determine if it opens up or down, and if it's a solid or dashed line. From there, we have to find the vertex. We have to find how high up or down that is by plugging in the value negative 1 in place of the x values, the one we just found. So now y is equal to negative 1, it's in parentheses when you plug it in, plus 2 times negative 1 plus 1. So negative 1 squared is going to be 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 1. So we have 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. And negative 1 plus 1 will give us y's value on our vertex as 0. So right here will be our vertex. That's the bottom of our picture. Again, we know it opens up this way. So the way we're going to determine exactly where it goes is we're going to shift to the left or we're going to shift to the right. If we shift to x is 0, that's 1 unit to the right. That's probably easier to do than shifting to x is negative 2. Both of them would be completely acceptable though. But shifting to x is 0 is preferable to most of us. X equals 0, we plug it in again into the inequality as an equation. Y equals 0, x squared or 0 squared is 0, plus 2 times x or 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1. So y's value then, when x is 0, y's value is at 1. So at y's value of 1 is where that point's going to be, which is the same. X is 0. I marked it on the opposite one, but it is the same. When x is 0, y's value is 1. When x is negative 2, y's value is 1. It's the same. Remember, it's mirrored shifting to the right 1 unit as it is shifting to the left 1 unit. We have to shift one more time. So we can shift to x is 1, or we can shift to x is negative 3. Both of those will be the same. We can go to x is negative 3, or we can go to x is 1. 1 is probably easier for most of us to plug in. So x is equal to 1. When we plug it in again as if it were an equation, y equals 1 squared, which is 1. That's why we like to use 1 and 0. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 1 more. Y's value then is 4. So when x is 1, y's value is 1, 2, 3, 4 at this point right here. And again, that's shifting to the right 1 unit. If you shift to the left 1 unit when x is negative 3, it will be in the same position. That's what the line of symmetry tells us. Now, if this were just an equation, we would graph from the vertex, and we would go up and we'd draw ourselves a straight line, and we would do the same thing here and draw a straight line, and we would be done with this problem. However, it is not an equation. It is an inequality. So what you want to do is you want to test one of the values that is not on the line. Before we get to that, though, we have to determine, again, we said it opens up and it is a dashed line. So we will draw ourselves, instead of a solid line, we will draw a dashed line which tells it to not count the line. Then we want to test one of the points that is not on that dashed line. The easiest point to test typically is the point 0, 0 right here. Now, the only time it's not allowed to be tested for its truth value is if it falls on the graph itself. In this case, it does not, so we can plug it in. Now we can plug it in to the inequality itself, not as an equal sign. So instead of y, we'll plug in y's value 0 is less than, instead of x, we'll plug in x's value 0 squared, which is going to be 0, plus 2 times, again, instead of x, 2 times 0 is going to be 0, plus 1. So we have a statement that says 0 is less than 1. We have to determine if that point is a true statement or not. And 0 is less than 1, so which means towards 0, 0 is correct. So you're going to shade towards 0, 0, or in this case, since it is a parabola, you're shading everything outside of the parabola. For number 20, we're doing the same thing. Again, when you first look at this problem, you can determine right away that it is a solid line, and it is opening going up since a's value is positive. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c. So you know it's opening up, and you know it's a solid line. Find x. X is negative b over 2 times a. Negative b is negative negative 4. Remember, anytime you have negative negative, that makes it positive 4 over 2. So positive 4 over 2 will give you x's value, which is 2. So again, on our graph, we're going to draw ourselves a plane where x's value is 1, 2. We're going to have ourselves a line of symmetry. X equals 2. From there, we want to determine what is the vertex. So if we plug in x's value being 2, we're going to get y's value. Y is equal to 2 times 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3. 2 squared is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 plus 3. So 8 minus 8 is 0, and 0 plus 3 gives you y's value of 3. So again, at y's 1, 2, 3, this will be our vertex right here. Again, we know this is a positive a value, so it's going to look something like that. It's going to open up. From here, we have to shift to the left or shift to the right. We can go to x's value being 3 and 4, ultimately, or we could shift the other way and go right here to x is 1. That is probably preferable to most of us to do. If we plug in x equals 1 to the inequality as if it were an equation, y is equal to 2 times 1 squared is 2 times 1, minus 4 times 1 is minus 4 plus 3. 2 times 1 is 2 minus 4 plus 3. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And negative 2 plus 3 is positive 1. Okay, I had to pause it for a minute. I made a mistake on this entire picture. I noticed at this point right here, it's negative b, which is negative negative 4. So we got that part right, positive 4. But it's over 2 times a. 2 times a's value is 2. So positive 4 divided by positive 4 gives us x's value, which is 1. So this entire line needs to shift to x is 1. So we're probably better off doing this. Okay, so x is 1. The rest of this is going to work, though. We're just going to have to undo this one. So when x's value is 1, that's going to be a line of symmetry there instead of where we put it originally at 2. Y's value is going to be equal to 2 times 1 squared is 1, minus 4 times 1 is negative 4, plus 3. 2 minus 4 is negative 2, and negative 2 plus 3, Y's value is also 1. So your vertex will be at 1, 1, right there. That is your vertex. But again, it is still opening up. We have to shift to the left or shift to the right. Here we could shift to x is 0, or we could shift to x is 2. Both of those answers are correct. Both of those options are correct, I should say. X is 0 is probably easier for us to manipulate. When x is 0, y is equal to 2 times 0 squared means 2 times 0, which is 0. Negative 4 times 0 is minus 0, and plus 3. So y is equal to 3. So when x is 0, y is 1, 2, 3. There's your point right there. Remember, it is mirrored when you shift to the right. So it is mirrored right there. We have to shift one more time. We can shift to there or there, to the right or to the left. To the right would be x is 3. To the left will be x is negative 1. You may think, I would rather use the number 3 than a negative value. So let's say you did that. Again, both of those are the right answer. So again, y is equal to 2 times 3 squared minus 4 times 3 plus 3. Again, we could have put negative 1 right in there with no problem. 3 squared is 9. 2 times 9 will be 18. Negative 4 times 3 will be minus 12 plus 3. 18 minus 12 is 6, and 6 plus 3 is y's new value, which is 9. So when x is 3, y is 9. We have 3 already, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So shifting to the right where x is 3, y's value will be 9. Shifting to the left, since it is mirrored, where x is negative 1, y's value is also 9. Again, if this were just an equation, we would draw our solid lines through it here, and we would call it done. It is not an equation, or it is an inequality. So you have to determine if that line's supposed to be solid or dashed. It is or equal to, so it will be a solid line. The next difference between an equation and an inequality is you need to shade in everything inside of it or everything outside of it. Remember, you have to pick any point that is not on the graph itself, not on the line. 0, 0 is the easiest point typically to pick. Y is greater than or equal to, so 0 is y's value, is greater than or equal to 2 times 0 squared. 0 squared is going to be 0. 2 times that is 0. That's why we like to use 0, 0. Minus 4 times 0 is going to be minus 0 plus 3. 0 is greater than or equal to 0 plus 3 is 3. Again, one more time, you have to check that truth value. 0 is not greater than 3. So shading towards 0, 0 is wrong, which means shading everything inside of the parabola is correct. And that's how you graph y is less than x squared plus 2x plus 1, and y is greater than or equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 3.